Hey, if you're watching this, there's probably something you've been working on that feels impossible right now. I make videos about Stoic philosophy and mental toughness, basically how to build a mind that doesn't break when life gets hard. I'm not here to sell you some 5-step system or promise that your life will change overnight. That's not how this works. What I am here to do is give you something more honest, something the Stoics figured out 2,000 years ago that still works today, something that actually changes people. And if you're the type of person who shows up even when it's hard, who's still trying even when nobody's watching, then this one's for you. Because here's the thing that nobody tells you about giving up. You're going to want to quit today. Maybe not literally walk away from everything, but there's going to be a moment, probably in the next few hours, where your brain is going to whisper that it's not worth it anymore, that the effort you're putting in doesn't match the results, that everyone else has it figured out except you. And here's what's interesting. That voice, it's not telling you the truth. The real truth is darker and far more powerful than you think. 2,000 years ago, a slave named Epictetus said something that should have been obvious, but it wasn't. It still isn't. He said, "It is not things themselves that trouble us, but our judgments about those things." Think about that for a second. Not what's happening to you, but what you believe about what's happening to you. Right now, you're not struggling because life is hard. You're struggling because you've decided that your struggle means something bad about you, that it's a sign to stop, that it's proof you're not good enough. But here's where the Stoics got something that modern motivation culture completely misses. They didn't say, positive thinking will save you. They didn't say, just believe and it'll happen. That's toxic optimism. That's delusion. What they said was colder, clearer, more true. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The strength isn't in the outcome. The strength is in deciding that you're going to keep going anyway. Here's something nobody talks about. Quitting feels amazing.
The moment you decide you're done, the pressure releases. The self-judgment stops. You get to be comfortable again. You get to be normal. You get to join the millions of people who tried something hard and decided it wasn't for them. That's not weakness. That's actually the easiest, most rational choice your brain can make. Your nervous system is literally wired to avoid pain, to seek comfort, to survive. And right now, your brain is absolutely convinced that continuing forward is painful, so quitting must be the right move. But here's what happens next. 2 weeks after you quit, you feel empty. Not peaceful empty. Empty like you betrayed yourself. Empty like you're smaller than you were before. Because you are. Every time you quit something that matters, you train your brain that you can't be trusted. You make yourself weaker. You prove to yourself that when it gets hard, and it always gets hard, you'll abandon what you said you wanted. The Stoics had a different relationship with struggle than we do. Seneca, another Roman Stoic, would deliberately put himself through discomfort. He'd sleep on a hard bed. He'd eat cheap food. He'd dress poorly. And you know why? Because he wanted to know that he could handle it, that his happiness didn't depend on external comfort, that he was stronger than circumstance. He was literally training himself not to need to quit. This is the reframe that changes everything.
You're not struggling because you're weak. You're struggling because you're at the edge of becoming stronger. That moment where quitting feels good, that's not a sign to stop. That's the exact moment where the Stoics would say, "Perfect. This is where real growth happens." Marcus Aurelius would wake up and remind himself that today he would face people who were selfish, dishonest, envious. He would remind himself that obstacles weren't signs to retreat, they were the way itself. The obstacle is the way. Not the way to success, just the way, the path, the only path that actually changes who you are. Now, I'm going to tell you something that the positive thinking industry doesn't want you to know. Not everyone who keeps going wins. Some people work harder than anyone else and still fail. Some people do everything right and get crushed by circumstance. Some people deserve better and don't get it. That's not motivational. That's not what you want to hear.
But it's true, and it doesn't matter. Because here's what the Stoics knew that nobody else does. The outcome isn't the point. Your job isn't to guarantee success. Your job isn't to force the universe to give you what you want. Your job is to try, to show up, to do the work that's in front of you with everything you've got. And then, and this is critical, you have to let go of whether it works. This sounds like surrender, but it's the opposite. When you stop needing the outcome to justify your effort, you become unstoppable. You're no longer fragile. You can't be broken by failure, because failure isn't a judgment on you. It's just information. It's just feedback. The Stoics called this apatheia, not apathy, but freedom from irrational passion, freedom from the need to control what you can't control. You control the effort. That's it. You don't control whether the market responds. You don't control whether people believe in you. You don't control timing or luck or the economy or 1,000 other things.
But you control showing up tomorrow and the day after that. So right now, today, you have two choices. You can quit. You can let that voice in your head win. You can go back to being comfortable and small and safe. And the world won't end. Life will go on. You'll be fine. Or you can choose the harder path. Not because it guarantees anything, not because you're promised a happy ending, but because that's how you become the kind of person you actually want to be. That's how you build a self you respect. You can choose to be the person who, when it got hard, didn't run. The person who felt the doubt and kept walking anyway. The person who didn't need permission or proof or a perfect plan, who just kept going. That version of you, that person exists on the other side of the choice you make in the next 5 minutes. Not 5 months, not 5 years, right now. Are you going to keep going? I'm not going to tell you it gets easier. It doesn't always. But it does get clearer. Every time you choose not to quit, you're not just working toward a goal. You're building something bigger. You're building a self, a character, a proof to yourself that when it matters, you don't break. That's the real victory, not the end goal, the version of you who earned it. Remember that voice at the beginning, the one saying, "It's not worth it"? It's probably still there. It'll probably never go away completely. That's not a problem. The Stoics knew that. You don't defeat fear or doubt. You just practice moving forward anyway. Day after day, choice after choice, until suddenly you're not struggling anymore. You're not waiting for motivation. You're just the kind of person who doesn't quit. And that changes everything. The obstacle is the way.